I'll see you in court.
Court, huh? There's a ball and a hoop out back. We can go now, sucker.
That's literally what one of my clients said to me last night when I was talking to them. And guess what my response was? Looking forward to it. Guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had an awesome week so far. Today we're talking all about purchasing court-ordered sales or foreclosures in British Columbia. Now before we get started, if you're new here, if you haven't seen one of these videos, go down, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more awesome content like this one today, so it helps you guys be better realtors, better investors, and better entrepreneurs in the real estate field. So buying foreclosures in BC. Now, a lot of people out there, especially investors who decide they want to get into real estate, decide that foreclosures is a great opportunity for them to get involved because they can buy properties at a discount. Now, back in 2008, 2009, during the real estate crisis that we had, especially down in the United States, that may have been true. People were scooping up properties on the courtyard steps for pennies on the dollars, doing some renovations and turning around and flipping them quite quickly, making some decent little profit. But is that still true today? Now, a lot of investors coming out of different training seminars always come and ask me, do you guys have a foreclosure list? How can I get foreclosures? I need a deal, so it needs to be foreclosures. Let's talk today more about the process of foreclosures so you understand how the foreclosures actually happen and if there's any deals actually to be made in the foreclosure properties. So what is a foreclosure? So in basic terms, a foreclosure is when somebody has used their property as a collateral for a mortgage to be placed against it for a loan. When they don't actually pay that loan or they default on that loan, that's when a foreclosure proceeding can start because they've put their property up as collateral for the actual purchase of that property, and by not paying that loan, they're giving that property back to the bank, or the bank is actually taking that property back as collateral to pay back that loan. So that's kind of foreclosure, or how foreclosure is caused in a nutshell. But let's dive a little bit deeper into the actual process of a foreclosure, how it actually comes about, and where the opportunities lie in a foreclosure. So step one in any foreclosure process is when someone starts defaulting on their loans or not paying their monthly mortgage payment obligations. A demand letter is sent by the financial institution to the mortgagor who has granted the mortgage on their property, basically accelerating the payments that are due. If they're behind so many months, that demand letter can basically say, we expect full payment by X date, or else we're going to be continuing this to court. So a demand letter is typically the first step. It's at this point when the demand letter is issued that the foreclosure process is started. They're essentially now saying we expect full payment or we're going to take this thing further. Now in most case scenarios, if you can't pay your monthly payments, the likelihood of them paying the full amount of the loan is slim to none. Some people do recognize this as an opportunity where they need to get out and they actually list the property and get out of it, and they do take the actions to pay that loan off. Other people fight it and they continue to go down that path till it's actually foreclosed upon. So the opportunity sometimes for investors to get good deals is sometimes at this demand letter stage before things carry on. So the next step is for the lender to start a petition. It's called petition. It's where they actually send a formal application to the Supreme Court of British Columbia to initiate the process of a judicial sale of the property so that they can get their holdings or their money back. So the lender is called the petitioner. So they're the ones who actually petition to have the sale happen. Everyone else is the respondent. And that includes anyone who ranks behind them on title who also owes money. That's second mortgagors, any other contractor liens, things like that. So the petition is the next step where they're actually applying to have the judicial sale start and actually get to the point where they can actually list that property. The next step in the foreclosure process, after some petitions have been held, some appearances in court have been made, is the order of nisi. Order nisi is when the lender is actually petitioning to get it to that judicial sale. This is a court's device that will become absolute once order of nisi is granted to allow the lender to start petitioning towards the judicial sale. Once order of nisi is granted, there's a small window of period that the lender or that the borrower can actually go and pay that off before that property is listed and goes to a court auction sale. After order of nisi is granted, a certificate of pending litigation is registered against title, so all of the people who are involved know what's on title. There is the pending litigation. There's a small redemption period, and then of course it goes to the order of conduct for sale. Once the order of conduct for sale is granted, that means a realtor is going to be selected to list the property and start gathering offers on that property to take it to a court-ordered sale. From the court-ordered sale, once they have offers on the property, they actually go to court to present the offers. Now, at this point in time, anyone can bring more offers to court, and a order made after application is granted. So basically, it's the order approving the sale. So the judge will look at all the offers coming in, and they will put their stamp of approval saying this is the offer that gets the property, and the property now is sold, and the current owner has to vacate that property. This is now a way that the lender now gets their finances back through the sale from a new buyer on that property. So let's quickly talk about, from the buyer's perspective, how the actual process works that you as the buyer go through to go to court and bid on a property. Now, when you see a court-ordered sale hit the market, typically it's going to be listed on the MLS, and under the seller's interest on the listing, it'll say foreclosure or court-ordered sale. When you see that, that means that when you go to make your bid, there's no guarantee you're actually going to get it. There's kind of two forms of offers here. There's the very first offer, which we call the trigger offer in most case scenarios. This is the offer that you get to actually put an offer in. You can have it subject to financing, subject to inspection. You'll negotiate back and forth with the representative at the bank and their realtor, and you'll come up with an agreed upon sale price. Once you go through your process of looking at the property, getting your financing in order, doing your inspections, and you remove all subjects, you trigger the actual court process. So you actually trigger the actual court date to be set. So once the court date is set, this is when it's open to anybody to come and offer. Now, I have a saying when it comes to foreclosures, especially when you go to court, is that right now in BC, going to court is like a crapshoot whether you're actually going to get it. Because a lot of people think the same way that most investors think. You get a deal if it's in foreclosure. And what happens when everyone's thinking they're getting a deal? Well, people get emotional and the bids start rolling up higher. So when you go to court, you can have anywhere from 2 people bidding all the way up to 100 people bidding. You never know. The most I've ever been at court with was 32 offers on a condo in the Langley market. That is insane. That property went for way more than I ever thought it would sell for. But that's what happens. People get into these bidding frenzies and they think they're getting a good deal. So once it goes to court, again, it's going to be whoever the trigger offer is, they're the ones who set it. Their offer still stands unless they'd like to do an addendum and change their price and change their deposit. That's totally acceptable. But anyone else coming to court is strictly going to be writing a subject-free offer, subject to court approval only, and just putting in their price, bringing their deposit in hand. It's up to the judge then, when he's reviewing all the offers, to determine which offer he'd like to choose. Most case times, it's going to be the highest bid that gets it. But when I say it's a crapshoot, is once again, you never know what the bids are going to be because it is a silent bid. You walk up, you put your offer into a manila envelope, you seal it, give it to the listing agent, they give it to the lawyers, hand it to the judge. He's the only one who then reviews all the offers, making the decision. So as you can see, at the end of the day, when it's a very hot market like today, foreclosures can be potentially a great opportunity if you buy it for the right price, but everyone's also thinking that mentality. So here's some ways when you're going to court to make sure that you know you're still getting a good deal. Number 1, run your numbers. Make sure you know your numbers. If you have a certain plan for that property, make sure that everything is lining up. So if you're looking to maybe buy an old rundown property that's in foreclosure, run your numbers. What's the after repair value? What is your top bidding price that you can pay when after you do your renovations, pay out any holding costs, you still have a profit at the end of the day? If your goal is that you want to purchase it as a rental property, then again, run your numbers. What's the maximum you can pay that you'll still have cash flow coming in that still meets your criteria? And if you're looking for just a home and you really, really love it, then bid what you feel absolutely comfortable with, that if you don't get it, you'll still be okay that you didn't overpay on that property. Again, foreclosures can be a crapshoot because people get into these frenzies when they hear foreclosures and everyone goes to them and they think they're getting a good deal. Now here's a little bit of stats about the Vancouver market and foreclosures. Here's a stat that I was reading in this article here that came out February 28th, 2018, so last month. And it's talking about how the province of British Columbia has a 0.16% of mortgages that actually fall into arrears. And this is the 4th month in a row. Prior to the 4-month stretch, the rate has been as low, this hasn't been this low since June 2008. For context, the lowest BC has ever seen is 0.1%. So we've got ways to go before we break the record, but again, only 0.16% of properties are going into arrears, meaning they're not paying their mortgages in BC. So the opportunity to pick up foreclosures is very, very slim. And in most cases, unless you're running your numbers, most properties do go, I would anticipate, at about 10% more than if it was just put on as a normal resale property, just because of the foreclosure hype. So don't be caught in the foreclosure hype when you're looking at properties. Make sure that you're running your numbers and you're still making an educated bid on the property. I have clients who have bid up against 10 other offers and have won and have made a good profit on those properties because they knew their numbers and we happened to bid high enough that we won, but they didn't go too high that they didn't make any money. So know your numbers, know what you're willing to walk away with, and you can still get a great deal with foreclosures. But also know, if you're asking realtors that, hey, I want to buy a foreclosure, there's not a lot of foreclosures on the market. Sometimes you can get a better deal just finding something on the open market and making that bid. So keep that in mind. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys found this really educational. The BC foreclosure market is a very interesting market. A lot of people want to be in it. There's not a lot of opportunity necessarily with the amount of foreclosures. Make sure you do your due diligence. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any comments, throw them below. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, go down, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.